There is plenty to discuss about this show. We will discuss the chop range of Bitcoin and the consolidation of Ethereum. We'll also view the film that Ripple released regarding the creation of the intelligent protocol and the company's overarching strategy. Using Ripple locks was the fundamental concept behind the $800 million coin scheme. For us, what does that mean? What about $57,000 worth of Bitcoin? From here, where do we go? I will see to you. Sit back, unwind, and catch a cold. Sit, get up, and let's get going. The value of Bitcoin was 1.58, $4,185 $1 a day ago. Ethereum's price increased to $2,984, a gain of 1.34%. USDC and USDT have both increased by 3.24%. However, XRP has only decreased by an average of $0.51, $0 on average. On the last day, though, it increased by 4.61%, in case you missed it. Watch the opening film of the day. Pay attention to it. We discussed how quickly pairs of Bitcoin trade and how optimistic it is for both new and returning channel members. Every day, many of you are brand new. Kindly ensure that you hit the like button. To activate the notifications and guarantee that you never miss a bell, click the subscribe button. It's critical to pay attention, press the like button, and focus. The show offers us something worthwhile. It adds support for Ripple and greatly improves the algorithms. Yesterday, we returned $30,000 to the community. Fundamentals projects received $30,000 more in monthly awards than NFT initiatives. I own you. That's what I must accomplish. Our neighborhood is that large. Folks just click and have a seat. That pleases me. Phil claims he is no longer able to handle cryptocurrencies. He's getting worse while you hold. I don't know why keeping might be so awful for someone, but selling is typically worse. What breaks you down, he asks. What is the mechanism of leverage? But how can you be destroyed by clinging to something you don't understand? That $74,000, in my opinion, was the peak of his cycle. I believe that the price of Bitcoin will fall to $30,000, which is the level he wants it to reach, in the absence of a bull market. He's now on leave. So good luck to him until he returns to the market. I sincerely hope his trip is wonderful. Not every Bitcoin should be valued at $30,000. The Bitcoin retest of 485 is, if anything, the lowest position in history. There are 52,000 players. It could occur if we don't reach our current level of progress. It cannot, however. Right now, there is a 50/50 chance, so it doesn't happen. How ought we to proceed? It is a known fact that by year's end, $5 trillion will have entered the market. However, there hasn't been much of an increase in Bitcoin recently, but looking further back, we can see that Bitcoin hasn't exactly been rising rapidly in the last few years. You may look back to 2013 to see how Bitcoin has performed in the past. That year, the price increased for a time until everyone went insane, since they believed that Bitcoin was a wonderful thing. 201.3, 201.3, 201.7, 201. Additionally, things are improving this year. When prices decline, as they did when the price of Bitcoin fell by roughly 30%, people scream and kick. People's emotions bring them to tears. They set a terrific example by reading all the negative news on Twitter. However, we observe that Bitcoin surges higher once more and continues its meteoric rise. Upon reaching what appears to be its local bottom, the parabola run will run out of time. It will shortly begin to occur. May has always been a terrific cue, as I have mentioned. You've been watching this channel for a while, May. People should be wary, afraid, and attentive if they feel that the markets are consuming too much of their energy. Get off the roller coaster, take a break, and return in a few months if it is too much for you. These markets will suddenly undergo significant adjustments. Brad Garlinghouse responds by speaking loudly and plainly. From the individual known as X, hello, is it time to call it X? What's her name? An intriguing response is coming from Brad Garlinghouse. She's responding, but I have no idea who she is. Does Brad Garlinghouse reside in this home? Yes, I do agree. I'm not sure I understand. I'll give you a straight C just to be clear. It just piqued my interest. We reach 56,000 to 58,000 when he departs, as I can see. The zone, which he and I both discussed in our most recent videos, gives the impression that we could descend even more. In the unlikely event that this is primarily a directional short increase, a squeeze ought to occur eventually. The leverage that has accumulated since our peak at 64,000 hasn't completely disappeared, and I haven't noticed any further leak down either. At this point, are you still holding out for a flush, or are you going to move in Bitcoin right now using dollar cost averages? As I mentioned before, because Bitcoin is a stable cryptocurrency, it is currently in a really interesting spot. It just needs time to test $52,000 and either go back up or keep sliding down. Martini claims that although I don't think Ethereum will reach 20,000, it is making me really afraid about missing out. I believe that during a bull market, it is between 13,000 and 15,000 and 15,000. This is more of a click me kind of tweet, which won't occur if Ethereum reaches $20,000. XRP is approaching $10. What are your thoughts about that? That's the method you use. This is the movie I wanted to show you today. Now let's all give it a listen. We will discuss the core system, the modifications that Ripple is doing, and the way that all of these relate to TCP/IP. People, listen up. There is no way that every user on the planet will adhere to the same blockchain. There won't be a single blockchain for everyone, as there will always be distinct networks. Ledgers and use are called blockchains. For my part, I fail to see how that makes sense. The world does not begin like that. That's not how I believe things will work out in the end. In other words, Ripple basically invented this concept. How are you going to address that specific issue? To ensure that different ledgers on various payment networks can communicate with one another, we created an internet interface similar to TCP/IP. The interledger protocol was developed by our tech team to facilitate international check clearance. The underlying principle of LP is that these disparate networks will cooperate to form a single blockchain. You might mention things like the US network of Visa is the financial network owned by HSBC and so forth. These locations are yours to claim since they are now actual places. These networks can be instructed to switch to the blockchain. However, they will only carry out their current actions again. Growing is not without its problems. The concept is akin to an internet-connected network that can swiftly address issues related to scalability. That is exactly what our internal policy, which we created and released as open source, means. These value networks and these payment networks should be connected by a standard protocol for data networks worldwide. What matters most, though, is implementing this approach in Ripple. In actuality, the purpose of creating these networks is to enable communication between them, so increasing the effectiveness and value of interoperability, which is something that is now lacking. Following the interoperability of items and information, this section is kind of a third. Standards and values must be compatible with one another. For this and the other two, you need standards. It's crucial to use a technique like the interledger protocol to make this feasible. They handle similarities in this way, don't they? We are aware of what TCP/IP and LP are. We are aware of Apple's close collaboration with Safari. We've had the interledger protocol for almost 7 years. The first one, Citibank's relationship to the private record, was discussed. This procedure takes 10 years or so. It was, I think, in 2017 or 2018. According to LL, since banks typically require 10 years, we are getting near to the ideal moment for them to debut and collaborate with Ripple, or at the very least, to begin manufacturing. Is 10 years old correct? Given that it's unclear who is creating and testing the digital ID, it's intriguing that Ripple and data privacy are collaborating to develop a solution. This item will go in the XRP ledger Palo. In an intriguing approach, Ripple has locked up 800 million coins to create a significant XRP movement. We are aware that there is a conversation going on here, but why? Cash is coming in and going out, and the value of Bitcoin is rising. It presently has a value of 57 Solana. Seeing how many of these other coins have returned and are now performing better is interesting. The other day I bought a lot of Solana. Earnings aren't so bad, are they? I'm up 12% on it. I have an adequate amount of cash. The neighborhood bomb appears well made. Additionally, I invested in Cardano, which is up 4%. My Chainlink is up 5%, and my AAA is up 6%. The fact that I can only have one ARB is killing me. You benefit from this. If you watch the entire film, pay attention and listen up, you ought to be pleased with yourself. Now allow me to offer you a small tip. One of those coins that will see a sharp increase in value in the future is ARB. It's barely moving forward at the moment and isn't performing properly. It is observed.